Hi everyone, it's me, JoProgo. Remember? I do. It's great. Hey. So, I wanted to make video. That's why I started this. Maybe that was a little bit obvious. Just a little bit. Anyways, I wanted to make a video because it's the day after Pride happened. It happened yesterday in San Francisco. And I know that's not maybe it is the official Pride Day, but do we have an official Pride Day? It just seems like the whole summer is Pride, but especially June. But anyways, I was lying here in my bed with my head on this ice pack, watching Lyme documentaries, and being I was starting to think about how this is the second year in a row I've missed Pride. And specifically, I missed it because of being too sick to go, even though I wanted to go, and I even had people I could have gone with. But I'm just too sick. I was going to go to Transmarch on Friday, but then just the thought about just getting from Oakland to San Francisco, that I was I can't. That is too much. I had just gone to the doctor the day before. I could barely get out of my bed. So I was okay, I probably am not up for a very long ride from here to San Francisco, and then a long wheelchair ride where someone else pushes me over really bumpy terrain, like pavement, but street pavement is really bumpy when you're in a wheelchair, not a car. It's even bumpy when you're in a car. So I was just I can't put my body through that again. And then again, yesterday I was I can't go to a parade. I can't do that. It's loud. It's so loud. And there's so many people. And again, long wheelchair ride, long travel. So I couldn't do it. And it was the same reasons last year. Except I was on crutches then, really needing a wheelchair. And if I'd had one, I might have been able to do it. Because I was a little bit healthier, marginally. So that I really started to think about that, and I'm okay, on one hand, I'm okay not going to Pride. It's not my favorite thing, because it's loud and there's people, even when I don't have a constant headache. That's why I'm on this ice pack, because today I cleaned my room, which made my headache so bad. So, where was I going with that? Just a second, it'll come back. Oh, it's not the thing. I don't miss going to a loud parade thing that much, but I do miss being around my people. Being a queer person surrounded by queer people who are visibly queer. And that's a wonderfully uplifting experience quite often that I really love having. So not being able to do a thing like that is really hard for me. And being wait, this is the second year in a row that I've been too sick to go to Pride. And in between last Pride and this Pride, I was never healthy enough to go. I never had a moment in there where I was oh, I could actually handle that sort of activity. I've actually been too sick for the whole time. There's a fire alarm, so Pike is really scared. Tell us about it, Pike. How scared are you? It stopped. Do you feel better? So, then I also got to thinking about all the other disabled people like me, and other Spoonies who can't go to events like Pride, or really anything like this. It's not just about Pride, ultimately. It is every event. I'm I really can't go. I pushed myself to go to an Andrea Gibson concert performance, back in April. Yep, April. And it was amazing, and I'm so glad I went. And that was the one night where I was like, I pushed myself so hard to do a thing that was about as much as, like, it was in San Francisco, so it was a lot of travel. It was a late night. I had to sit up in my wheelchair the whole night, which is a lot of pain. I don't even understand how much pain I'm in usually, because you can kind of numb it out, drown it out, dissociate away from it. There's lots of options. But when I do things like that, where I have to like sit up in my chair for several hours and travel and you just like, when I'm here in my bed, I can visibly show how sick I feel because no one else is here but Pike, and she wants me to be my honest self. But when I'm out in public in a large group of people, I'm not able to show how my body feels. So I also have to mask all of my behavior, and that causes additional pain and brain fog and loss of spoons overall. So it's just like, it's ridiculous to me, all these tiny, tiny things I have to think about before I do anything. This will even be as little as like go for a wheelchair ride outside when I'm being pushed to take my dog for a walk. And there's a lot of days where I'm like, I'm sorry, that is too many spoons. I need to save those for walking to the toilet. Some days I crawl to the toilet. However you get there. So I guess I'm just like, all of that is happening, and then at the same time, I got this diagnosis a week ago. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. What is time? So I got this diagnosis for my seizures. And at first I didn't want to tell anyone because I felt super ashamed about it. But I'm like, no, I need to talk about it. That's how I process my life. So, and because I like to participate with you people, and this is a way I can do it from my bed, where it's pretty quiet, although this headache is starting to get really bad. If I just cover this eye, it gets a little better. This is my worst eye. This eye works better. This one will get all these like weird color flares in it. What was I talking about? Shit. My seizures. So I got this diagnosis that my seizures aren't epilepsy, they're non-epileptic seizures. Specifically, my neurologist is like, you have psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, the kind that are caused by traumatic memories being converted into physical symptoms like seizures. It used to be called conversion disorder. It still is commonly called conversion disorder, which is, I've been doing a lot of research. So conversion disorder, is what they renamed hysteria in the 80s. So like there was hysteria for a long time, and we all know hysteria didn't do much good for us. It just made epileptic people were also hysterical until the EEG could prove that they weren't. So anyways, hysteria became conversion disorder, which is based on a Freudian theory where Freud literally said people with conversion disorder take these distant emotional traumatic memories that they usually don't remember, and they convert them into physical symptoms like paralysis, fainting, seizures, blah, 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 things like that. So, and then a little while later, there's also been new names for it, like functional neurological disorder and psychogenic non-epileptic seizures for the seizures specifically. So I'd been learning about these things for years, actually, because I have had seizures for years, and I knew they didn't follow the pattern of epilepsy. So I decided not to investigate them further and just to be like, well, and I'd had doctors be like, no, these are just like muscle spasms, they'll go away. And sometimes they do go away, and then they come back, and they're always getting worse as I get older. To now I have them every day, and I have seizures that take over my whole body, and I lose awareness and speech ability, and it can take me a couple of minutes to come out a little bit and be able to like open my eyes, but it can actually take hours, if not a whole day, for me to actually be able to really have myself back from a seizure. So when my doctor gives me this diagnosis of conversion disorder and non-epileptic seizures, I totally shut down during the appointment because I was just like, I don't understand how this works with my experience of life. I don't understand how this works with my experience of my illness and with my understanding of Lyme disease. I do understand that I have a lot of trauma, plenty to cause these kinds of seizures if this is what they are. But it isn't, but I remember it, and I've been working through it. And the more I work through it, the worse my health issues get, and that doesn't make sense to me. And in addition, another thing that confuses me is that the treatment for these seizures is cognitive behavioral therapy, which I've done a bunch of. Not always like not ever formally for my seizures, but I've been doing CBT for a long time. And I also did dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT. And all of these things, they did help my psychiatric symptoms, like my PTSD, my anxiety stuff. They did very much help that, and they continue to help that. But they did not help my health problems. My health problems keep getting worse, including my seizures. So I don't disagree. I understand they're not epilepsy, and I agree. I didn't actually ever think they were. But I did hope that they would somehow have a different treatment for me besides further psychotherapy and CBT and DBT. They didn't say DBT, but to me they go hand in hand, so whatever. So anyways, I still feel shame about it because I'm like, it's a thing that I can't control, and it's a thing that's really embarrassing and makes it hard for me to participate in life. And makes it hard for me to want to leave the house, honestly, because I'm like, what if I have a seizure everywhere I go? But I still do it. But anyways, it's, I feel the shame about it because it's the thing I can't control, and it's a thing I don't fully understand, and I keep being told by doctors that these seizures are psychogenic, that they're caused by psychological issues. And I'm like, I hear you, and I still firmly don't agree. I'm like, maybe it does appear that way because, yeah, stress does that. Stress makes me have seizures, but they do that. Stress makes people with epilepsy have seizures, so that blah, blah, blah. Frustrating. So the little research I've done about the research I have done about my kind of seizures, there is some evidence for like different physical ways your brain works, and not in the like tiny locations of epilepsy, but in the like overall structures and the overall processing, specifically the processing of emotions. There's like actual structures that do that work, and in people with my kind of seizures, it's possible that there's literal physical differences in our brains that make us process differently. We just don't have the right tests or imaging to see these things. So that's like the place I got to in my brain to be able to actually talk to people about it. Because for a while I was just so like, I give up everything I'm trying to fight against. This doctor's telling me it's all psychological. She was telling me that all my neurological problems were probably psychological, and that she could refer me to a neuropsychologist for testing. And I was like, I am so done with psychologists and psychiatrists and neurologists. Fuck you all. Fuck you all. But it also made me be like, I'm doing all these treatments for Lyme. They all cost a lot of money. Every single week it costs a lot of money just to keep these things going. But it feels like to keep me going because these medicines have made a difference. Like, I have a little more energy. I could clean my room. That was exciting. And I have reduced my seizures using marijuana because even though I don't have epilepsy, a lot of the treatments for epilepsy, the cannabis treatments for epilepsy, work like a charm for my seizures. So I'm like, it's so confusing, and I don't have doctors who are willing to really investigate both sides of it together with me, because on the on the physical doctor end, they're all just like, all your problems are psychological, we can't help you at all. Nothing we do will help you. And then the psychiatrist and my therapist, they are like, well, yes, a lot of this is your trauma probably making you have all these problems. Let's do all these therapies to help you. And then those therapies haven't been proven to help me yet. So then but then they're also not willing to talk to my physical doctors about, like, hey, this isn't maybe all that is. Try again. And then they all want me to jump through all their hoops in order to get whatever treatment they are willing to give me. Except for my Lyme doctor. She is just like, I talked to her about it, and she was like, I've never treated a person with a degenerative condition, like I have a degenerative condition because it gets worse over time, who, especially a chronic illness type thing, she said she never treated one who didn't have some sort of, like, trauma or emotional issues. That, like, yes, of course these all go hand in hand because your body is one organism. Like, you are one organism trying to work, and yet you get hit with these emotional things, you get hit with these physical things. You have a structure of your brain and your organs, and they determine how you handle all of those things. So it's like, it's a really big crapshoot about how your body's gonna respond to shit. But then it was really comforting for her to just be like, well, on the good side, you don't have epilepsy, so you don't have to take those medicines. And that's better because they have a lot of side effects and chemicals in them. And I'm like, yes, that is true. That is a bright side, I guess. On the downside, I don't have other treatments for my seizures, and I don't feel like I have help that really will listen to what I experience about them, because they all just want to tell me what they think about them. And I'm like, listen, mostly y'all just haven't done any research because you decided they're psychological, therefore don't need research. So this isn't, I'm like, maybe you should actually do some more thorough studies. But in psychology, they don't actually like to do very thorough studies. It's actually kind of hard to do those. So, yeah. This has been a long video of me telling you about my thought process. I hope you like it. It's real fun. Pike has taken a nap. Yep. My brain is feeling pretty much just as bad. It's like hugely located right over here. I'm gonna put sunglasses on soon, or bury my face. So I'm gonna tie this all back into the beginning of this video where I was talking about being disabled and not being able to go to Pride and feeling really sad about that. Not because I wanted to go to Pride necessarily, but because I want to have the option to go do activities that I want to do. But I don't have those options because it's so hard to get. Well, it's hard, even if you have all the right treatments, it's hard to deal with Lyme and manage it and bring it to a place of you feeling like a healthy person. And even if you have all the therapies available to you, if you have 25 years of sexual torture like I have, it's still going to take a long time to sort that out and come to a place of feeling healthy and like I can manage my life. So right now, I don't get to go to Prides, and I don't get to do a lot of things, and it's really hard. And I need a lot of things that cost a lot of money, and I can't provide for myself very well. And I'm on here just complaining about that part, I guess. It's just all a hard part, and I wish there was some way some route through it all that was clearer, but it just feels like a muddy, marshy mess. It's like being in the dead marshes. And I'm just headed towards Mordor, I feel like, because I also constantly feel like I'm gonna die any moment. Because, I mean, anybody could, but I'm also like, geez, I have so many health problems. And I don't have enough treatments for them, it feels like. Side note, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you for being here with me. If you have an ability right now to help with money, I have to buy an air conditioner for my room because I have heat intolerance, and so when it gets above about 70 or 75, I start to get really fatigued and confused, and I have more seizures, and in general I get a lot more sick every single day that it's hot. It's like a cumulative thing. So I have to buy an air conditioner that fits in my special vertical sliding window. horizontal sliding window. Jeez, that's what it is. And it's about $300. And I don't really have that much money. And I asked my mom, and she doesn't really either. So if you have any ability to donate to that specific need I have of an air conditioner that I need very quickly, as soon as possible, I would really appreciate that. That would be hugely helpful. People keep giving to me on, oh my god, what's it called? Just wait, it's gonna come to me. Shit. Do you guys know that place where you fundraise, crowdsource? Not Kickstarter, but it's the other one that I'm using to fundraise money for my treatment. The link will be below. People keep giving to me on that, and I really appreciate that too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hugely helpful. Help pay my doctor bills this month. Woohoo! So, yeah. There we go. Air conditioner. It's not Patreon. I do have that. No, I don't know. Jeez, it's over. Look in the link. Surprise for us all. In the meantime, believe yourself. Believe in yourselves. Keep living. I'll see you soon. Bye. Say bye, Pike.